It's good? You hear me?
Allen High School, the site tonight for the District 11 6A Boys Quarterfinals. D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo, Tommy Moser, glad you could join us here from Allen High School. We expect two great matchups. Parkland Easton to follow, and right now a big matchup between East Stroudsburg South, the Cavaliers. They are the 5 seed, taking on the 4 seed, the Freedom Patriots. And Tommy, obviously, it should be exciting today in Allen.
Yeah, it's win or go home today, Al. You win, you guaranteed 3 more games. You lose, your season's over, so the pressure's on both teams.
It's impressive when you say 3 more games. That's something that Coach Stellato had talked about. For Coach Munford, his team 12-4, 16-7 overall. He's in his 8th year. He has a solid team, loses one of his best players due to an injury, but Milo Santos has to get this team going.
So Santos is only a junior, but Munford has a balanced offense, but a lot of it's going to run through Santos. He's 6'1", forward, athletic, handles the ball a lot, going to look to create offense for Coach Munford.
Well, for Joe Stellato and his team, he's 9-7, 15-8 overall. Joe Stellato is now in his 20th year at the helm. You can talk about the Mims. We'll go with Malik Mims.
Like you said, take your pick with the Mims. Malik, they're both going to have the ball in their hands an awful lot. Malik on the defensive end now averaging 4 steals a game, so he does it on both ends of the floor.
Well, expect a great matchup. Thanks to St. Luke's for being a part of it. We're excited to bring you the District 11 playoffs. 6A boys action. East Stroudsburg South taking on Freedom next. Right here, our D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Back after this.
Are you searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive.
We are back. Al DiCarlo alongside Tommy Moser. Glad you could join us here from Allen High School. Expect a good matchup between these two teams. Without question, Tommy, obviously an exciting time to be here as well. And, with that, we also have two of our reporters with us in Peter Capote from Allen and also Elijah Rivera from Notre Dame with us as well. And we'll hear from them, those two, shortly.
Yeah, it's playoff time, Al, so you can feel it in a gym, a little extra bounce to everybody from the players to the cheerleaders to the fans in the stands. It's win or go home time.
Yeah, indeed, it is win or go home time, and we expect a good matchup. This is at 16-7 for the East Stroudsburg South Cavaliers and 15-8 for the Freedom Patriots. And setting the tone early in this one, I think, is going to be key as well.
Yeah, both teams coming off a loss in the quarterfinals of the league playoffs, so they had a little bit extra time to prepare for this, and sometimes that can wear on you when you just have endless practices. So I know both coaches scheduled some scrimmages in there, which will help, but it's good to get out on the floor against somebody different. So we will see which team can get off to a flying start.
Yeah, without question. Both of our student reporters are standing by, and obviously when we look at keys to these two teams and exciting times, first let's go down to Peter Capote. We'll get to him in a second. First, take a look at our keys to the game, beginning with East Stroudsburg South.
Well, limit turnovers versus the Freedom pressure, and that's the calling card of Freedom. And the Mims twins, as we talked about, they just are going to get after you full court for the entire pace of the game. And East Stroudsburg wants to slow the Mims twins down. On the other side, for Coach Stellato, stop penetration and rebound.
And we'll go down to our sideline reporters.
Hi, I'm Peter Capote alongside Elijah Rivera, the sideline reporters for today's games. Elijah, you talked to Freedom's head coach. What was his comments for the game?
Yeah, I talked to Coach Stellato, and he said that he has to stop number one Patterson. That's the only game plan. Their man-to-man defense is too good, he said, and that's pretty much it that he said. He has a lot of confidence in his team, but last year, East Stroudsburg beat them, so they can't take this team lightly.
I talked to East Stroudsburg's coach. Their main game plan is to stop the two Nim brothers. Also today at practice, their starting center, number 45, Jaden Sednick, got injured. So they expect all their starters to step up their efforts today. Back to you, Al.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. And, we'll hear from them at halftime as well as we get this game underway between these two teams and position themselves in a part. Nice to have Peter with us. Elijah did a lot of football with us, of course, but because of his basketball, on the basketball team at Notre Dame, and they're in the playoffs, we have had him limited, but he does a great job with us every time he's with us as well. Opening game as we are getting underway, and obviously an exciting time here at Allen High School between these two teams, and Mims has it right now, stops and pops, and drains the first deuce for Malik Mims.
And as we were with our student reporters, you saw one possession for East Stroudsburg South and one turnover, and that was one of Coach Mumford's keys. And if they're not going to be able to handle the ball, could be a long day for the Purple crew as we see some run and jump by Stellato and the Pates.
Nice pass underneath, wide open, a little too easy on the basket made by Nathaniel McIntyre.
And so one of the things that you have to deal with when you're going to be aggressive with the run and jump defense is you see a nice little scoop reverse layup by
Taj Montgomery. Oh, excuse me, that was Samir Georges.
So when you are running and jumping, as Freedom is on some of the possessions, you need to rotate or else there's going to be open players, and that's how East Stroudsburg converted their first possession.
Again, one of two to be played here, with Parkland Easton to follow here from Allen. Thanks for Scott Cooperman, Donna Kennedy, everyone here at Allen High School for their hospitality. 6:26 remaining in the opening quarter. 4-2 is your score.
Malik Mims getting his first foul. So the two shots are obviously an issue, but the foul on Mims, something that Coach Stellato does not want to see early on.
No, without question. Obviously, that's definitely a concern. And, we saw in the pregame also during the warm-ups, they were wearing teal. Our thoughts go out to Nick Ellis, who lost his mom to ovarian cancer earlier this week. So tough for them. They're wearing teal in support. So we wish him the very best. Our thoughts and prayers are with him and his entire family. That one knocked away. Good job. And it's picked up. 4-3. Freedom on top. 2 minutes in. Glad you could join us. Our D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. One of two District 11 playoffs. And driving unscathed through the lane for the deuce is Patterson.
The too easy, no help defense there by Freedom, as the straight line drive was way too easy without help.
So quickly to the other end. And Tommy, easy to talk about, when you know that, last year it was East Stroudsburg South that beat Freedom. That's, both teams know that.
Yeah, we asked Coach Mumford about it in the open, and he said, I'm sure Freedom remembers, and we didn't even have to ask Coach Delato. Of course, he mentioned it to his guys in the locker room, those including the Mims and several other guys who were on the floor in this very gym in this very same quarterfinal round. As a matter of fact, the gentleman with the ball right now, or 23, Christian Sapp, hit a three-pointer at the buzzer to send Freedom home and end their season. So these two teams did not meet in the regular season, so this is Freedom's chance to get a little revenge as we see moving screen on East Stroudsburg South. What you saw in their possession there is what they're going to try to do is be patient, run some motion offense, and keep Freedom working on the defensive end.
Our student reporters prior to the game, and they talked about Jaden Kasanik, starting center, lost last week with a knee injury, and that's a big loss, a key player.
Well, you look at the stats, he scores only 4 points per game, but he is almost 5 rebounds a game, and he's a big presence inside defensively, and a glue guy, as Coach Mumford said. He does everything right. He's a leader, as 24 Barnes scores on a nice pick and roll give from Mims.
And here comes some pressure. Then Coach Stalada told us he would come with some pressure as well. Down low underneath. Quick passing here by East Stroudsburg South, and getting some job done is Christian Sapp.
So when you're facing pressure, you cannot over-dribble, and what Coach Mumford, you can tell one of his points of emphasis for his guys has been to move the ball via the pass, and that's how they've gotten a couple easy baskets so far.
So Mims comes up with another basket. They lead by a score of 8-7. But down underneath, that's too much, and it continues to be easy. It's Sapp back-to-back baskets.
So that's 6 points already because of a break. I wouldn't even call it a breakdown. It's just a gambling type of defense, and when you do that, if the other team executes, you're going to give up some easy baskets. So Coach Delato's going to have to decide if he wants to stay with it or not.
Outside, wide open. That one well off the mark at the rebound. And then they throw that one away. Over to Caleb Mims. A whistle and a foul.
You saw Mims in the open floor right there, both of them, but especially Caleb, just so explosive, so talented and skilled with the basketball. Gets to the rim with such ease, just leaving the defender two choices really, to commit a foul or to get out of the way and allow an easy layup.
Quick pass in off the window, and scoring is Nick Ellis. So Ellis comes off the bench and gets the first two for him.
Nice strong finish inside for the freshman. He's got nice size to him as only a ninth grader. Went right to work inside finishing.
Freedom up 10-9. Obviously, Tommy, a lot of emotions going through him during this day.
Yeah, can't imagine being in the shoes of a 14 or 15-year-old and having an unfortunate, terrible loss like that. And, it's good to be around your teammates and the people that you enjoy spending time with. And they've been together with him. They did a couple team meals and went to the viewing together as a team. So that's got to be of some comfort, but certainly nothing that we would wish on anybody. So hopefully the young man can come out and, represent well today. And he's off to a good start.
Yeah, no question about that. Glad you could join us here. Our D11sports.com game of the week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Al DiCarlo alongside Tommy Moser. Dave Micah in the house once again with us.
Starting to get a nice crowd filtering in here, Al, for the doubleheader.
Quick pass back out to Caleb Mims. Thought about it and then shuffled the feet. Was trying for that step back, maybe the pop, and then it was a hand in his face and took the extra step.
Well, he got a little bit of a bump, and it knocked him off balance, and it caused him to take one step before his jump stop, and that's what brought the walk on. So well defended there by the Cavaliers.
Two minutes on the clock, 10-9, Freedom up by 1. Really nowhere to go here defensively for the Cavaliers.
Good, solid, fundamental possession defensively here by the Patriots without gambling, and East Stroudsburg has not found an opening.
They get a whistle and a foul here on the pass.
And that's 2 on Malik Mims. And he's going to have to take a seat. Stellato has been in this situation with him before. He will not sit the rest of the half, but he's going to have to be careful when he comes back in the second quarter.
Yeah, if you're East Stroudsburg South, that's a huge advantage at this point with one of the Mims not in the game.
Unbelievable, because they just, even if they're not making plays, they put such incredible pressure on you to, as we see a great back cut right there, and that's what Coach Mumford and his team does. They run offense. They don't get knocked off balance. They stay in the flow. And they've got 4 layups as a result.
Barnes with the deuce. And back and forth we go. But all those baskets are down low for number 23 in Sapp.
Absolutely, as we hit the minute mark of the first quarter. But East Stroudsburg South is not a great jump shooting team. Most of their damage is in the paint.
8 points for Sapp.
Almost at his per game average for the season.
13-12. Down to 30 seconds on the clock. As Freedom looking to play for one possession here. Down to 18 seconds on the clock.
See what Coach Stellato calls here. He's got a 1-4 high set. He's going to look to run someone off a double screen here.
Mims, and they do get an open shot, and a buried 3 by Frank Falco off the bench. That was big. This will count if it goes, and almost does. Wow. Through 1, Freedom after the shot by Falco leads 15-13. Back after this, you're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine.
Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts.
We are back one quarter quickly in the books. And, well, the big thing we take out of it, a nice shot at the end, but almost a huge shot, a SportsCenter top 10 highlight possibly, that would have went in there at the end. But 15-12, your thoughts after one quarter and, knowing that Mims is also on the bench?
Yeah, good, clean first quarter, as you said. Went quickly, not many whistles. Unfortunately for Stellato and the Patriots, both fouls on their team were committed by Malik Mims, which is going to keep him on the bench for a little bit longer. But refs letting him play, which is good. We're in playoff basketball. Both teams being aggressive but playing clean and hard. East Stroudsburg is sticking to their game plan, moving the ball quickly out of traps and the run and jumps from Freedom. So that's why they've gotten some inside baskets. Freedom, one plus for them is they've had some role players step up and score the ball a little bit other than the Mims.
So back to action here. That shot off the mark.
So a change in tactic here for Stellato as he comes out in a zone. He does not like using zone, but he's come out in a zone here to start the second quarter.
And he talked to us about that, coming in.
Well, one thing it will do when Malik comes back in is it will protect him from getting a third foul, although it could happen in the open floor as well. But which is a good out-of-bounds call right there by Mumford. But One thing they're also going to have to do out of the zone, it's always more difficult, we say it all the time, to rebound defensively out of a zone, and that possession right there was a second chance possession by East Stroudsburg.
So just underway here in quarter number 2. Now DeCarlo Tom Moser from Allen High School. I want to thank again Scott Koopman for his hospitality here. A little different vantage point for us being on the baseline, but a different kind of view.
You're never sure how you're going to be impacted by it, but I kind of like it. I mean, we're right down here. We can hear everything. You're eye level with the players.
Well, I saw you there for a second. You were trying to go inside the huddle, and you were going to try to walk over and see if you can get back in the coaching things. And Munford said, no, step aside.
I'll save that for the overtime when they're locked in and they don't notice, as we see a lane violation here by Molesky. Sorensitz, Molesky, and Hyman's the veteran crew for this first quarterfinal of the day.
So Parker ends up getting both. And they'll move it around. Here's a 3. That one's short. Hits the front of the rim. Nice rebound. Powering through. And we'll have to earn it from the free throw line is Jalen Stewart.
Stewart's a load in there. Look at him just go up and get it, take his time, gather himself, power dribble, and draw the foul. We seem to have a discrepancy on the scoreboard here. Points getting added and subtracted. So let's see where we're at after all this is going on.
I believe it's 15-14.
I think you're right. They are not sure at the table, and they're going to have to check this out shortly. Carl Gilbert, one thing for sure, Al, he will be all over it.
Yeah, because there was 2 free throws made on the other side. And both shots missed. They still had 15-15 on the scoreboard, but it was 15-12, and then they had the 2 shots.
Even you can do that math, DeCarlo. 15-12 plus 2 free throws makes it 15-14.
I think I'm right, but maybe I'm not. Well, they're keeping it up there, so maybe I lost my train of thought. Here's the shot. That one off the mark.
And I believe you're right. Great back cut by Ellis. You can see the potential of that freshman right there staying with the play, the instincts to make the back cut. That scoring issue will be settled at the next dead ball. I can guarantee you that.
They move it around. And from the far side, driving through. He's been dangerous all day, and how about dangerous some more? He's got 10. Those Sapp.
Very active as Sapp. So if Stellato's going to sit in that zone, Sapp cannot penetrate that. That's way too easy if you're Stellato. You're not going to like that. There should be enough bodies in there to prevent that type of basket cut against the zone defense.
So 10 points. Actually, the scoreboard is correct. I started doing my numbers in my chart, and that is correct.
Okay, well then at the end of the first quarter it was not correct because our scoring here in the second quarter has been on, but we'll go with what they have at the table.
First shot is good by Mims.
And Malik still on the bench. Let's see if he gets some run here in the second quarter. I find it hard to believe he will stay on the bench the entire remaining 6 minutes.
And obviously the tempo different when he's not in the game.
Yeah, you see the speed he brings. He's like a 4x1 runner just all over the basketball court. And they have other players, as you can see right there, as you get a timeout by Mumford, fearing the 10-second call. It's not just Mims. Harrington, Montgomery, they all get out there after you, and that's a byproduct of being against the Mims in practice every day.
Well, glad you could join us here from Allen High School. Our D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. Yesterday we were in Catasauqua for 6A girls action. We'll get back underway on Tuesday. Later this afternoon, we'll see Parkland and Easton tip off as well. Great opportunity for our students. We talk about, the teams get into playoff mode, and our students get into playoff mode as well. And our 11 student reporters doing a great job and learning each and every day, from our program. And we want to thank them being a part of it, and them for learning each and every day.
Yeah, every game out for them is a more experience and a learning experience, and they get more comfortable with what they're doing, and you're seeing that for many of our student reporters as they get better with each effort out.
So 5:36 on the clock on the kick out. Baseline.
Stellato staying in the zone because he not afraid of the jump shooting of the Cavaliers.
As you say that, the three flies, they don't get it. The rebound was there momentarily for East Stroudsburg South. It goes off of Freedom, and they get the ball back.
Got a rebound out of the zone defensively, and you don't have a man to box out, so you have to find somebody in your area, get a body on him, and go secure that rebound.
(19-17) shot from the far side, and that is good by Gabriel Mileto.
The sophomore Mileto off the bench. Coach Mumford sees the zone. Mileto's got the second most makes from the behind the line this year, so he's in the game to bust that zone open, and he did it right there.
Driving baseline, gets tagged.
We get a replay here. We get the look. Sapp inside, and that's when it creates problems against the zone. When you get the ball in that high post area, the middle of the floor, everybody collapses, and you can kick out for an open shot.
So Freedom regroups here, down by the score of 20-19.
Number 12, Jalen Fletcher into the game, also a freshman. So, Al, we have two freshmen on the floor here for Freedom in a District 6A quarterfinal.
How about Mims? Calling for the screen, takes the screen, and then buries the three.
Yeah, he's been watching some NBA basketball. That's what they like to do, and it was effective right there.
Freedom back on top, 22-20. They have not had an answer for number 23.
The middle of the zone is just way too open, and Sapp is getting the ball unimpeded in there and just having his way, as you mentioned. I mean, it's just way too simple, and if Stellato doesn't want to go back man-to-man, they have watch how easy. Look at that. There is nobody within 8 feet on either side of Christian Sapp. DeCarlo, you might be able to make a move and score from there.
That's zero chance of that happening.
Zero chance.
We want to give 1% on that one. How about 12 points for Sapp, though? Again, we talked about it. So far, every shot he's had has been down low with the basket.
Yeah, well, he knows what his strengths are. He knows he's not a jump shooter. He does have 8 makes on the year from behind the line, but, he knows his bread is buttered inside. And here's the thing about it, as he misses the free throw, but both teams are probably feeling the same thing. These are not two of the taller teams in the league, so if Freedom's going to look and say, well, we don't have the height disadvantage tonight, well, East Stroudsburg and Christian Sapp are saying the exact same thing on the other side of the floor.
Yeah, midway through the second quarter, that one won't go, and boy, somehow they get the ball back momentarily. Now bodies flying everywhere, and Freedom has numbers coming the other way. Nice dish up. And the basket by the freshman Ellis.
Wow, what a sequence right there. That looked like a rugby scrum. We had at least 5 or 6 players on it. I think there were 6 Freedom Patriots on the floor, and there's only literally on the floor, and they only have 5 in the game right now. But, a great pass by Stewart to Ellis, who scored a few times inside.
Ellis now has 6. Freedom regains the lead, 24-22. Tommy, from talking to both coaches, is this game going as expected for both or not as expected?
I think it's going as expected. I think the only thing Coach Stellato expressed to us that he was unsure how his zone defense would look, and it has not looked great. On the other side of the floor, East Stroudsburg's probably happy with the way that they've defended Freedom. We're right on the seesaw, back and forth, one possession game the whole way, and I think both coaches have to be happy.
We talked about Malik Mims, stays on the bench. Will we see him here in the last 2.5?
I think at this point you might as well ride it out now and keep him out. You still have the lead. Would you like him in? Sure, but you can't risk putting him in and getting him that third now. And I think he's pretty much, as we see a bunch of subs at the table, but Malik not one of them. So I think he's going to ride out this quarter on the bench and come out refreshed for the third quarter.
Caleb takes a shot that hits up top. And it's like a hockey game here, changing on the fly. Got 4 players coming in.
Over the boards in line change. Caleb, starting to force it a little too much. He's taking a few 2-3 threes in a row from that spot, not trusting his teammates as we get an unforced turnover. I call it unforced, but Freedom's pressure. And as I say that, here comes Malik Mims. Maybe Stellato going to go a little offense-defense here and throw Mims in.
So 2:24 on the clock. Baseline jumper, that is good by Malik Harrington.
And that's bonus right there if you're Freedom. Get a 3 from Harrington, the senior, who adds most of his worth from intangibles and defensive pressure, only scoring 3.5 a game, and he reaches his average right there. Now we get a ticky-tack reach on Caleb Mims. Let's see if Stellato gets Malik back out here for an offense-defense.
(27-22), 1:59 on the clock. This is the biggest lead of the game now, 5.
Yeah, we've been playing within that small sample the whole half. It's been very competitive. I think both teams have played well, had some good individual efforts and made shots.
It's a 3, and the tip back is good by McIntyre.
I think Georges might have knocked that one in for Freedom. We'll give McIntyre the credit for it, but that might have been deflected in by Georges, but nonetheless it counts as 2 for the group in purple. Here we get a look at the replay. Yeah, that was Georges with his left hand. He should try and save that for this end of the floor.
You got like pearl, vision eyes there. What's up with that?
Yeah, well, I just changed my contacts. We talked about that the other day, Al.
I did too, finally, but I don't think it's worked.
Sorensich sees a moving screen. That's his second that he's called.
(27-24), $1:30 on the clock. Malik Mims back on in. Baseline jumper. That one off the mark, and Mims quickly with the rebound. And now we'll move the ball up the court. He's got to be extra cautious depending on where he's going to take this ball. That pass over to Caleb, and that shot doesn't go. Caleb gets his own rebound. They'll reset. Driving through traffic, extra move, and he gets the ball right back. Nice steal, and he'll go to the free throw line. Again, you're playing with 2 fouls. That's awfully dangerous, but he had all ball on the rebound.
It's beyond dangerous. If you pick up that foul right there, even if sometimes you're going to get whacked for it, even as we get a look at the replay here, great move by Mims. Might get hit in the head, doesn't get called. He does reach in, clear ball, no foul, and he earned that trip to the line. And there's a sub at the table, and I'll be stunned if it's not for Malik if he makes his second free throw. And there is a sub. So Malik will sit for the rest of the half. They got him through that first half with only 2 fouls and nursing a 4-point lead. Stellato would probably take that if you'd tell him before the game. That's what you're going to get.
55 seconds remaining. (28-24) is your score. And they call it traveling, and they picked up the foot on that turn.
So Stellato stayed in his zone the entire second quarter. If he wants to stay with it, he's just going to have to make an adjustment to watch Sapp in the middle of the floor, because that's what's been busting the zone apart and led to most of the Cavaliers' points, and he's got to feel comfortable with where he's at. For Coach Mumford, we'll see what his thoughts are as they head into the locker room.
So 28-24, biggest lead was 5 for Freedom. Both Easton and Parkland are in the building, as they are the second game of the doubleheader. And a timeout with 19.7 seconds on the clock.
Stellato subs in Falco. Let's see if he tries to replicate what happened at the end of the first quarter when he ran his rover set, he calls it, speaking of Easton. Calls it rover. Going to look to get I'll give you a little hint there, Al. It's a set we may have stolen from Easton when Coach Hutnick was there, and we ran it, and was successful, and he's kept it in the playbook for all those years. So let's see if he comes up with it again here to end the half.
And biggest lead was 5. We're sitting at 4 here. But a solid game, back and forth. I think both coaches expected that, and it looks like we're going to be battling all the way through on this one.
Yeah, this is playoff time. I don't know that you're going to see a lot of non-competitive games, and these teams seem to be evenly matched, and they're both laying it all on the floor, playing well, coaching well, and that's why we got a 4-point game. Here's the 1-4 high, Rover set. Look to get Falco off that double screen.
Down to 8 seconds on the clock. Down to 6. Now driving the lane, nothing there. Spinning, nice move, but that one a little bit too high. The tip back, that one doesn't go. 1 half complete. And it's 28-24 in favor of the Freedom Patriots at the break as they lead by 4 points. We'll come back with more action as we return to J. Milo Soares Gymnasium. It's 28-24. Back after this.
Oh, here's that wild sequence as we go to break where you had at least 3 or 4 Patriots on the floor and then a great dish to finish it off from Stewart to the freshman Ellis. And that will take us to our halftime break.
St. Luke's Orthopedic Care. Extraordinary care in motion.
Are you searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive. Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts.
Hall of Fame pitcher Steve Carlton knows what it takes to exceed expectations. He knows what it means to be part of a team that rises above the competition. He knows a champion. Steve Carlton knows St. Luke's Orthopedic Care.
Back here at Allen High School, 28-24. Al DeCarlo alongside Tom Moser. Glad you could join us here for our D11sports.com Game of the Week, presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine. And Tommy, your thoughts here for the first 2 quarters?
Well, as we talked about a couple times, it's a very competitive game. I think what we would have expected. Both teams, the only surprise I would say would be the fact that Stellato and Freedom used a zone the entire second quarter. Malik Mem sat with 2 fouls, but Caleb ran the show. And they got contributions from a lot of their other role players, what you would consider. For East Stroudsburg, it has not been a lot of role players contributing. It's been a lot of, as you've pointed out multiple times, number 23, Christian Sapp carrying the load. So for Coach Mumford, he's going to need some contributions from a few of the other guys. Milo Santos, we featured in the open, and number 1, Julian Patterson, was a concern of Coach Stellato, and those 2 have been held in check, and that's why the Patriots have the lead. Well, obviously, when you look at it and see the teams, that are in the bracket right now, he's bringing them on in. Obviously, you look at, the games that are going to take place a little bit later on tonight as well, and, in Allen and Pocono Mountain West. But, focus our attention on knowing that the winner of this game will get either number 1, Allen, or Pocono Mountain West. Yeah, obviously Allen a little bit of a favorite in that game, but West playing great basketball, trailed by 8 with 2 minutes to go the other night and scored the last 13 of the game to knock off Whitehall. So they're going to go into that game with some confidence. And, let's face it, any team left in the bracket right now has to feel as though they have a legit chance to win this thing. It's very balanced. There's good teams. There's good competition. But there's certainly no runaway favorite. And if you play your best basketball for 3 games in 1 week, you're going to come out with the gold medal.
All right, so we'll see what happens. Those games, Northampton and Liberty also at Easton as part of that game. So our second half should be interesting as well when it comes to the game between Easton and Parkland.
Yeah, absolutely. Parkland beat them in the regular season. Easton was on fire. Very similar to Freedom, started out the season very well. Struggled. Don't know if struggle is the right word, but lost a few games down the stretch. Parkland has been pretty consistent all year. Win a couple, lose a game. Win a couple, lose a game. And so, as I said, Parkland with the win earlier, Easton higher seeds. So that one we expect to go right down to the wire as well.
Shooting-wise, Freedom 11 of 24, behind the arc 2 of 7, and your free throws 3 of 6 for East Stroudsburg South. 10 of 19 shooting, 1 of 7 from behind the arc, and 3 of 5 from the free throw line. That all said, the interior, and you mentioned it, leading the way is Sapp. He's got 12 points, 8 points in quarter number 1, 4 points in quarter number 2 to lead the way. He's got 12. McIntyre with 4, 2 points for Patterson, 3 points for Mileto, a point for Green, and Parker has 2. For Freedom, Caleb Mims has 5. Malcolm Mims has 5. 3 points for Falco, that big shot at the end of the quarter. Malik Harrington has 2. 4 points for David Barnes. Nick Ellis has 6 points, 4 coming in the fourth quarter. And Samir Georges has 2 points to wrap up the scoring as you're watching again. If you win today and you move on to the next game, that means you're moving on to 3 games, whether it's the final after that, the consolation, and into state. So this game is huge. And Coach Mumford, even though they won the championship a couple of years ago, they lost to, the MVP of the league last year, and they come back into the mix. And that all said, you're not having an opportunity to move on here. It's big for both schools.
It's crazy to think that one team loses and their season's over and the other team is guaranteed 3 more games. But that's the scenario that you're in today for all 4 of these quarterfinal games and all 8 of these quarterfinal teams. You win, you're guaranteed that state game and obviously a chance to win district gold. So, one of these teams here is wearing the uniform for the last time. And if you're a senior, it's going to be the last time you're putting it on, period. So, I don't know if pressure is the right word. These student athletes, these players know what's at stake. That's why you're seeing some high effort and high energy and good level basketball right now.
Well, we'll see when we come back. It's 28-24 is your score. And right now, the Freedom Patriots lead by 4. The biggest lead was 5. Back with more. Our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine. Back after this. 28-24 is your score. Al DeCarlo alongside Tommy Moser here from Allen High School. And, one half in the books. We talked about it, Tommy, and it's obviously an exciting time. Take a look at some first half highlights.
Well, here's Sapp doing his thing inside. Actually, this time was a kick out to Mileto for the 3. As I mentioned at the point of that replay, you get the ball in the interior. Look how wide open it is, and that's an adjustment that Freedom is going to have to make if they stay in that zone. Here's that mad scramble. 1, 2, 3. At least 3 Patriots on the floor. Mims to Stewart to Ellis for the deuce. Great sequence right there.
And there you see, the score at this point. We want to thank St. Luke's Sports Medicine, John Hoff, and Ken Sidlow, and everyone really for getting us ready to go and be part of the District 11 playoffs and have that opportunity as well. Bringing us on in. That all said, our our student program has been going really well, and we have, a number of student reporters here with us here at the game, and we're ready to go to them right now, and we send it down to Peter and Elijah.
Hi, we're here at the halftime. Both of us have spoken with the two head coaches. What did Freedom's head coach tell you for halftime adjustments?
He said that they have to limit their three-point shots, take it in the hole more, and on defensively they just have to they have to execute their zone, and they're going to go back to man-to-man. And if they do that, they're going to win the game. He's pretty fired up.
On the East Stroudsburg side, their coach said better rebounding on their end and better shot selection. Back to you, Al.
Guys. Thanks a lot, guys, and good job. We'll hear from them a little bit later on in our post game, and as they get us ready for the second half of action here, and obviously, flip the coin, stalemate 0-0. Where are we going here?
Slight advantage to Freedom at this point. Sapp had a monster half. Neither of the Mims brothers went off, and that's always something that could happen at any moment. So, and I know Coach Mumford's worried about that. A lot of credit goes to East Stroudsburg and their defense for holding the Mims in check. So you did hear that Coach Delato told Elijah it looks like he'll be going back man-to-man, especially with Mims coming out with only 2 fouls. So they have to feel pretty good about where they're at. Mumford, like I said, he's going to need some of his other supporting players, Patterson and Santos, to start knocking some shots down.
We'll see how the first couple of minutes go, and obviously when number 5 is at full strength, the team is different. They also went into the half leading by 4, and that's a big difference as well.
Absolutely, and they start the half with the ball, so let's see what they come out with against this aggressive Cavs disciplined man-to-man.
Baseline jumper. That was quick. Samir Georges.
And that's bonus. You don't expect a lot of offense out of Georges, but an open 10-foot jump shot, he knocked it in. And we see some full court man pressure with some run and jump. So we're back to the man-to-man for Freedom.
And quickly on the turnover, and they had it momentarily, lose it. They battle for it. We've seen this in the first half. And Joe Stellato gets possession, calls timeout. You say, all right, well, lost a timeout here early in a tight game. Okay, you coached, but at the same time, you gave possession to maybe increase the lead to 8.
Yeah, it goes both ways. I mean, you can look at it on either side of the coin. Obviously, you're happy with, the hustle that your guy got on the floor. You were granted a timeout. You do get possession. You score to start the half. So if you can draw something up here and get a bucket to start out of this timeout here, you build it up to what would be the biggest lead of the game at that point. You had only used 1 timeout in the first half, so that's only your second. You're going to have 2 left. Any more like that, I would be hesitant to use those. I always like to hoard my timeouts for the fourth quarter if it got to crunch time, but certainly you're not going to argue if you score on this out-of-bounds play.
30-24, as they look to inbound, and they just get it in, and some way, somehow, Barnes puts it through.
So Barnes, strength right there, finishing through contact. That's not easy to do at the high school level. And we see that's a second timeout that Mumford's had to call because of pressure.
I was going to say, how about that? So in the first 52 seconds, we got a pair of timeouts. And you saw what Malik Mims there did at the end. Reaching for the ball, realizing I'm going to get this steal, but if I move the wrong way, I'm going to get assessed with a foul. Pulled back, and they still got the timeout out of it.
Well, that young man's played enough games to know that he's on the precipice of causing something, but as you said, the last thing he wants to do is get that third foul a minute into the third quarter and sit the rest of the quarter. So, you don't need to go 100 miles an hour. You cause a timeout, if not a turnover, and those timeouts will come in handy lately, so not having one is almost as good as a turnover.
So 32-24. A minute in, and that ball loose and right in front of us. So extra pressure there by the Patriots leads to another turnover here for East Stroudsburg South.
Good call by you, Al. It's just the mental part of it, knowing that the pressure is there. At any point it could be cranked up, and you just lose your concentration for 1 second, and it results in a turnover.
Here's a shot by Mims. That one off the mark. sitting over there in the gray shirt on the far side. If you want to go this, if you go this way, get him.
Good drive by Santos, could not finish. Offensive rebound, and drawing the foul is going to be Jermaine Green, number 11.
So on the free throw line is Jermaine Green.
Barnes thought he had all ball right there, but got a little body contact. Tie up, and that ball will stay here. Good job by McIntyre inside, causing the jump ball. So McIntyre is only a sophomore, and likely, as you mentioned at our open now, the starting center out for the year. That's going to allow some opportunities for other players, such as McIntyre, to start getting some increased playing time, and he took advantage of it right there.
Trying to go baseline, and they will line up in that direction. Nice move, and can't get the roll. I tell you what, Christian Sapp has been everywhere on the floor. And then the outlet pass from Mims to Mims. You think they play this, every time, and they know what's going on?
I
Do you
thought
think they have a little.
That looked like a Madden play right there, Al. Mims fired it, and Caleb went up and caught it like he was running a post pattern. And they have done that hundreds of times. These two have played hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands of games together. Going back, I remember hearing about them as 7- and 8-year-olds playing together. So they've definitely played a lot together.
So you're telling me if I threw that to you, it wouldn't have been the same way?
Well, I would have went up and got it with one hand, and I would have needed a jump. I have about 8 inches on Caleb and Malik, so it was a little unfair, but he has more hops than I do. He went way up.
I think you have more than 8 inches.
Yeah, normally the coaches embellish the height. They don't do it with the Mims because they don't only list it at 5'9".
Yeah. Here's Malik. He'll bring it up on the floor. Has the player on the wing, and Malik never going to stop. And a whistle and a foul.
When he gets ahead of steam and he's going downhill like that, there is very little stopping him. And coaches used to say back in the day, step in and take a charge. But he is so elusive and so shifty with his body that he avoids it unless you would have 2 defenders there. It's just so difficult to get a charge on him.
And we got our student reporters working double duty. They're already talking to Andy Stevens, their pregame thoughts. So nice to see them in the crowd and getting their thoughts out of the way early. You get better stuff from coaches when they're relaxed, not 5 minutes before the game.
Well, that's true for sure, but also that's the experience of our 2 reporters doing multiple games. They know what to do, and Mims couldn't finish there.
So stepping back and the turnover by Green. Green thought he had it right and then pulled back on there and couldn't get it done.
So a leaky start to the third quarter here by East Stroudsburg with only 1 point in 3 minutes and multiple turnovers, mostly caused by the pressure of the Patriots.
That said, it's still sitting at 32-25, so as much as they haven't scored, not like Freedom is. And as I say that, Caleb Mims is.
Look how explosive he is. He takes one dribble from outside the paint, and he just absolutely explodes, finishing high and through. And another turnover. This is what Coach Mumford was worried about before the game.
So 4:37 on the clock, third quarter. Feed down underneath. Once and done. On the shot by Ellis.
Good look by the freshman, just kind of rolled off the rim. Stellato knew the importance of that one, psychologically would have got them up to a double-digit lead.
And we approach the midway point of quarter number 3. It's a 9-point lead, biggest lead of the game for the Patriots.
Patient flex offense here by Mumford and East Stroudsburg.
That foul is on Ellis.
And they called it on Ellis over the loudspeaker. I think it should have been on Barnes,
That's what I thought.
24. Stellato doesn't seem to mind because it was the first on Barnes, and they're subbing Ellis out. Barnes, as it may have been his third. But if they're not going to correct it, who are we to correct it, Al?
No, you just did. But so everybody in the country knows that now. We'll see if that comes into play later.
Would that be grounds for a protest?
I don't know. I don't think so.
A little pressure by Mumford here, a little trapping. Give you a taste of your own medicine.
1 of 2 in the free throws, down underneath as they break that press and score by Ellis. So Ellis has 8.
So one thing that is going to benefit Freedom right here is every day in practice when the Mims and the rest of the guards for Freedom are pressuring you, you've dealt with that for 3, 4 months, 5 months, if not 2 years in practice. So you know how to handle it, and Freedom did a great job right there.
Cavaliers trying to weave through traffic and lost the ball momentarily. They get it back and a little shuffle of the feet.
Here's a look at the replay, some pressure. Harrington head up, nice pass to Ellis for the deuce.
So down to 3:15 on the clock, 36-26. A foul away from the ball.
I think Coach Mumford has been in the ear of the officials calling for moving screens on Freedom. That's the third one we've seen called today. Not that they aren't moving screens, we just don't see that as often, but that one was probably warranted a little hip out right there by Montgomery.
3 minutes on the clock, third quarter action. The biggest lead of the game is 10. And still looking for their first basket of the third quarter is East Stroudsburg South.
Well, Mims right there got a little lazy and reached around and got a little bit of the jersey, and you had to call that if you were the official. And Mims didn't like the call, but we saw it from here. Everybody saw it, and he just earned his third foul. He's going to stay in the game, so let's see how that affects his play.
Cavaliers in much need of a basket here. And Freedom doing a good job on the defense, the clear out, and the rebound. That one knocked away by Ellis, and the feed up to Mims, flying through traffic. That should be a goaltending, and it will be. Or just a foul?
Now, I believe they got the goaltend. Okay. Great athleticism by both of those young men right there. First, the rebound by Ellis right here as a freshman to go in and dig that rebound out, pitches the outlet out to Mims. One dribble from out the three-point line, and then Sapp way up high, but it is a goaltend.
So Mims with his 7th point, and Freedom up by 12.
Danger zone here for the Cavs. You don't want to dig yourself any more of a hole.
They get a good look on a baseline for a 3, but can't drop it home. Mims, another rebound. Has his brother on the wing. Here's Caleb. Stops, pops for 3. Cotton.
Mumford's going to need a TO here, and there it is.
A 15-point lead, back-to-back baskets by the Mims. First the deuce in transition, and then the triple by Caleb.
There it is, Malik to Caleb. The step back, as you mentioned, he likes that move. And all net, 15-point lead, trouble time for Coach Mumford and his staff.
So 2:09 on the clock, 41-26 is your score. Again, if you're joining us in the third quarter of the D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke Sports Medicine, East Stroudsburg South, 2 free throws. That's it. And, the pressure defense and everything else, they have not made a basket here in the third.
Well, that's been the difference. Freedom has made a couple shots as Malik is going to take a seat with his 3 fouls. But you mentioned it, 6 minutes of play in this quarter and 2 separate single free throws. Just way too many turnovers. The pressure has just been building and accumulating, and it's worn East Stroudsburg down. They've had some unforced turnovers, some breakdowns. Their shots are rushed, and they just are losing their legs a little bit.
Again, East Stroudsburg South playing without their starting center in Jaden Kasanik. Sanic averages, 4 points, 4 rebounds, but he's more than just 4 points, 4 rebounds. He comes in and he's a little force at 6'4". Will give you some powerful minutes, and he's sitting on the bench with the ACL injury.
He's a glue guy. You're used to having him in there. If you're the rest of the players, he's back there in the paint. He's probably altering shots, maybe grabbing a few block shots in addition to the rebounds that he gets. And you're just used to playing with him out there. Now he's not out there, so there's another guy who's in a position he's not usually in.
First free throw is good for Sapp, who now has 14. And Coach Mumford knows free throws is not going to win him in a basketball game at this stretch.
No,
some field goals.
They don't have the firepower from downtown on a consistent basis to fall behind much more than we are right now. And Stellato going back to the man-to-man here in the third quarter really has eliminated East Stroudsburg's ability to get some easy buckets.
Great job by Taj Montgomery to break through, but they couldn't convert. Again, a minute 39. If you're East Stroudsburg South, you need something, and just nothing's falling for them right now. Frustration starting to happen, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was a rush shot, and that's what happens, as you said, when you get a little frustrated, you're struggling a little bit. And look at Ellis. For a freshman to catch the ball right there on the move, he kept it high, turned, pivoted, and banks it off the glass. That's not an easy shot. Very impressive. Good set by Freedom, and back up to a 15-point lead.
Down to a minute and 2 seconds on the clock. Outside three, and finally their first basket comes with a minute left, and it comes for Green, his 10th of the year.
Much needed, as you said, and then a turnover. Montgomery tried to get a little too fancy right there.
Nice pass up front, and right back in the mix. That's Santos. Down to a 10-point lead. And an offensive foul.
So a couple turnovers in a row, and Freedom's shown some signs of getting rattled as we see an errant pass right there. Sapp makes a great dish for the layup, and then an offensive foul. Montgomery a little bit out of control. So if the Cavs hold for one here and can knock a shot in, we're inside single digits going to the fourth.
Listen, we're talking about hitting the three-pointer with 1 minute on the clock. And right now, this is a huge possession to get right back in. And that one doesn't go, but they get the rebound and reassess. There's got to be a foul somewhere there.
Stewart's in disbelief, but he's going to get tagged with the foul. And they're in the bonus already, Al. Look at this. And
7-2 in the foul situation.
Just took a look at that, and I thought the Cavs went a little too early there because they are going to give Freedom a possession instead of taking a last shot. But if you can knock these free throws in, you'll take the points.
I'll also give it a chance for Mims to check back into the game.
For offense, very good point. But that could be an issue in the fourth quarter with some foul shots.
So Parker makes the first. I don't know, there's a little confusion there. Nothing went in. It is 2 shots. Actually, it wasn't on the shot. It was 1-1, excuse me. Second one is up. And depending on what happens here in this possession, East Stroudsburg South has done the job. Here comes the pressure. Up to Mims. 10 seconds on the clock. Mims breaks through, flies through traffic, and gives it up. Almost could have actually scored there. He was up like Jordan. I'm just going to use that because that's what it looked like.
Well, we have the perfect
exactly.
We have the perfect angle from right down here in the corner, Alan. You aren't kidding. He took off, and I don't know why he dished that because it looked like he was going to dunk it, and he did make the unselfish play, and they're going to get 2 free throws. But, yeah, that was a good call by you.
Wow, people saying, what are you talking about? But we have a different angle, and it looked pretty good from here.
I mean, I've seen you do that, Al, take off like.
I have done many times.
Good cut by Ellis on the out of bounds. Draws the foul. Mims takes a seat with 4 seconds left to avoid the 4th foul. That's what your assistant coaches are for. Sam Seneca, Mark Corsi, the rest of the staff informing Stellato to get him out.
4 seconds, they'll count if it goes, and it does. Burying it at the end was Milo Santos as he buries the three, 44-38. Things have changed with a minute left as we go to the 4th. We've got a game, 44-38, as you take a look at the finish. Going to break. Back after this, our D11Sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine.
Are you searching for a place where you belong? Where your fitness matters? Regardless of what shape you're in, St. Luke's Fitness and Sports Performance Centers have a professional team that will help you meet or exceed your fitness goals. With locations throughout the region and nationally recognized fitness experts, you'll become a member of a supportive fitness community. We call it Extraordinary Fitness. Visit us online to start your free 7-day membership and let us help you thrive.
Well, back, and Tommy, a 15-point lead with a minute and 7 seconds, and now all of a sudden you're looking up at the scoreboard and it's not.
Well, what a turn of events. I mean, you mentioned it, 15-point game with a minute to go. If that goes the other way and Freedom gets a basket, it's almost out of reach as we head to the 4th. And on the other, and instead, you have East Stroudsburg making up a 9-point deficit in 1 minute. And Milo Santos, who I don't know that he had scored to that point in the game, throws in a 25-footer on the run at the buzzer.
Scored the basket before that, so 2 baskets at the end. And give him a little spark. That shot off the mark. Here, Coach Stellato, there's got to be some concern here.
100%. You know, your guys, I'm not saying that they let down, but you look at the scoreboard and see a 15-point lead, and now it's certainly anybody's game at this point, and Sapp is feeling it.
So that's foul on Ellis. He's got 2.
Of more concern for Stellato and the Patriots is their half-court offense has really gotten stagnant. They're not getting a lot of good looks. If you remember, in the 3rd quarter, a lot of their offense was off of transition or turnovers. So if East Stroudsburg can make this a half-court game here in the 4th quarter, they have to feel pretty good about where they're sitting.
(44-39). And wide open. Boy, that close quick. They're going to wave off the basket by Barnes, but Barnes got loose, and there was no one there for a second.
Yeah, the Red Sea parted right there for Barnes, and great job. Well-disciplined pressure as you get a look at the traps here. Not doing too much, keeping them in front of you. Just good execution by Freedom. Well done on both sides. Barnes drew the foul, and Freedom will take it out underneath.
A minute into the 4th, game 1 of 2. Parkland Eastern to follow as part of our coverage of District 11 basketball tournament. Now getting loose underneath is Mims. Mims now has 12.
The Cavs needed some help defense right there, but Caleb's just so talented. He gets to the basket with such ease. If you don't bring that help defense, you're in trouble, and he made you pay right there.
Driving through, changing direction is Parker, and all of a sudden Parker has his first basket and remains a 5-point lead.
Parker, clearly a lefty. If you're the freshman Ellis right there, you have to know he wants to go to his left and take that away.
That one knocked away momentarily, picked up by Mims. And Mims goes to the hoop, can't score. They get it right back. I'll tell you what, Ellis has done a tremendous job today. You know, he goes up for the shot, but when he goes up for the shot, kind of leans, and then get 2 more. You're looking at a freshman.
Well, you would never know he's a freshman. He looks like he could be a junior or a senior out there, and he knows how to play the game. He uses his body well. It's all about how look at him use his body right here. As you mentioned now, when he gets up in the air, holds himself up, draws the contact, but he's balanced enough to be able to finish with his strong hand.
Nice spin move again. And back to the free throw line is Parker, where he's 4 for 4 today.
Not sure where Parker was in the first 3 quarters. He's been much more aggressive lately, and for the second possession in a row, the freshman Ellis, he has to understand that this young man Parker is going to go back to his left. He might start to his right as he does right here, but he's going to spin back to his left because he's comfortable going that way and using his left hand.
Misses the free throw. If you're just joining us, boy, a 15-point lead with 1 minute and 12 seconds left in the third. And that changed.
Oh for 2 at the line is going to leave a mark, though. You got to convert those freebies down the stretch.
Mims will get the call. That was a 10-1 run to end the third.
They make it exciting to watch, don't they, the way they fly around the floor. Mims is up there hanging, and he's like dipsy doing and all kind of stuff, and he drew the foul right there. 50-50 blocker charge. He got it his way.
I'd like to throw out there, I'd like to have a Calgary's versus Mims 2-on-2 competition. Throw you on one team and me and 6 other people on the other because that's a disadvantage.
Yeah, that would be an interesting matchup for sure. Just a twin thing. You know where he is. You're in sync.
Exactly. Back up to a 9-point lead.
See if the Cavs have one more push in them here. Back to the zone for Stellato. Ellis piling up the rebounds.
Big possession as we're under 5 to play. Wow. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the house on the hook by Barnes.
Well, I think Barnes was a little further out than he thought right there, but by the time he had turned and elevated, it was too late for him to change his mind, so he fired it up anyway. Unfortunately for him, it went in. Here comes Mims again. Good decision by Caleb, the senior.
Mims sees a little seal and scores 2 more.
Just too good, those twins are. It's just incredible the way they can make plays. Mumford going to use another timeout. Try to get one more run in the Cavs here. Get a look at the replay. This was Barnes, or as you called him, Jabbar. That's a bonus right there if you're the Patriots.
Isn't this kind of history day? Isn't it 40 years today when Miracle on Ice happened? So, we're going back with, a little Kareem.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all meaningful. It's all there.
So Miracle on the hardwood today?
I guess.
All right.
I don't know. That shot was just, I thought about Kareem. That's it.
Were you broadcasting that game?
I was. Yeah, I was. In my mind, I was broadcasting it, watching that game at 10 years old. 54-41, 4 minutes. Or 3:59 to be exact on the clock. Al DiCarlo alongside Tom Moser. And girls action last night. Move on to the semifinals on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But, boy, a lot of games today, as we mentioned. The back end of this doubleheader will be Easton and Parkland. That should be a doozy. Northampton and Liberty at 6 at Easton. And Allen and Pocono Mountain West at 7:30 at Easton. So lots of games to decide who's going to make it to the semifinals and who's going to play into states.
Yeah, always great to punch your ticket to states, and the fact of the matter is this year 6A is wide open. Of course, the Philly Catholic League is going to throw some good teams at you, but anybody can put a couple good weeks together and make a run, and that's what your goal is.
So the 15-point lead went down to 5. Now it's back up to a 13-point advantage. And time is becoming a factor. But heck, when you score 10 points in 48 seconds, see if you get it back. They work the foul. Coach Stellato not happy. And if you wonder, you talked about the bonus. They're in a double bonus now, but the bonus earlier at 7 came early, but it really hasn't done that much damage.
They did
come to
not
play.
They didn't take advantage of it the way they needed to early here in the fourth quarter. And one thing is, we laughed about it earlier in the third quarter, and we thought they erroneously gave that foul to Ellis instead of Barnes. That now ended up being Ellis's fourth foul right there, when he probably should not have had one of those earlier. And he's actually had a very big impact on his game. So let's see if he can keep himself on the floor here for the last 3.5.
Yeah, and East Stroudsburg South not helping themselves on the foul line. They've missed 4 in a row, making 5 in a row.
Yeah, it goes without saying that those are necessary when you're trailing.
(54-41), 3:20 on the clock. That's the 16th foul against East Stroudsburg South.
So Mumford had called that last time out, but it also gave Stellato some time in the huddle to tell his guys, listen, we have a 13-point lead with 4 to go. We don't need to take any foolish shots. Let's take our time and work for nothing but layups, good looks, and if they stick to that, they should be pretty safe. We'll see if they can stick to it.
13-point lead here for the Patriots.
We're going to play the foul game here for a little bit right now. And the Mims both shooting over 70%, Harrington at 80%, Ellis, the freshman, even over 70 at 76%. So got to get through a couple 1-and-1s.
Just like that. Opportunity for Mims to bring it back up to a 15-point lead.
So Stellato in a little bit of a 3-2 zone, trying to make the Cavs bleed some clock here. Stellato didn't like what he saw right there and burned another timeout to avoid a possible turnover as we hit the 2:45 mark, and he can again instruct his charges of the time and score situation.
So timeout with the 2:45, and you look at Freedom right now in a position to move on. Andy Stevens, actually I'm looking over now, Andy Stevens sent his team in, his assistant coaches in, but Andy Stevens did not go into the locker room until about 3.5 minutes on the clock. He was watching this one knowing, hey, I want to make sure, down the road could be, we could see him, but you always plan ahead as a coach. You want to get a little in, but you know what every team offers.
You do plan ahead. He played Freedom in the regular season. He played East Stroudsburg South in the regular season, and he played East Stroudsburg South in the EPC quarterfinals. So he's very familiar with these teams, probably wants to see what is taking place here. Also trusting his players and assistants to know what's on hand at stake here before he gets in to instruct them prior to tip-off.
Inside, no. Mims thought he was fouled on the play. Nothing called. Will come the other way with East Stroudsburg South, and that one knocked away. Good job by Ellis. And this time the 2 will go for Caleb Mims.
I don't even think Mims dribbled from the three-point line right there and still found a way to get to the hole without traveling. And they're just so explosive and athletic. And Coach Mumford and the Cavs are seeing this one slip away right now. It's just too much freedom down the stretch here.
So 58-41.
First one good by Malik.
Second one for Mims. In foul trouble.
Very balanced effort here by the Patriots, as I think Stellato would love to have this effort every time out. Contributions from every player up and down the lineup.
100%.
And they're going to get their revenge from last year's heartbreaker in this very gym, in this very time slot, as a matter of fact, in quarterfinal action that ended their season. And they're going to get to play for another 2 weeks. Good decision right there by Mims. And he's going to go back to the line one more time. Coach Mumford going to get one of his 2 seniors into the game right here, Juwan Morrison, number 2. One more timeout we get.
So 1:23 on the clock, 18-point lead, and Freedom now feeling it on the far side. They know that they're moving on, and they'll be qualifying and getting there.
There's a couple emotions going through your mind right now as a player and a coach. There's a little bit of excitement. You were up to the challenge today. You played a good, well-coached, good basketball team, and you were up to the challenge and the task, and you pulled away in the fourth quarter to get a win. You kept yourself alive for a gold medal. There's also a little bit of relief because you know that you're going to get to hang out with your friends and your team for another 2 weeks, play some more games.
So 1:23 on the clock. And Mims doing his job on the bench. Excuse me, on the free throw line.
Well, he did his job on the bench, too. I will say in the second quarter when he sat for most of it, he was up cheering and instructing and coaching and helping his teammates. There's no doubt about it.
That shot from the outside, no good. And driving through with a minute on the clock. $50 remaining. Tell you what, East Stroudsburg South, you got to give Sean Mumford, all the credit in the world for his team. Again, playing shorthanded without one of his key players in at the same time, doing that. He, brought a deficit from 15 down to 5.
Yeah, absolutely. That last minute of the third quarter was incredibly impressive, and they actually had a lot of momentum here early fourth and had the Patriots on the ropes before they steadied the ship and eventually pulled away here to this quarterfinal victory. So tons of credit to Coach Mumford. He's been around long enough, has experience at the college level, certainly has a good program in place here as they graduated the MVP of the league from last year and still found themselves in the playoffs of both league and district playoffs.
And they shuffle the deck and get some players in. And I said this to Tracy Sear, who helped us out last night, did a great job. Anytime you get players in, they practice with you all year long, and you get the opportunity to get into the game in a district kind of game and have the opportunity to try to score, as we're talking about right here. And, Edward Moore is in the scorer's table, the sophomore forward.
Well, I'll attack it from two angles right here, Al. You have some seniors in the game right now who, as you mentioned, practice their butts off and help their teammates out. You also, for Freedom, have multiple freshmen. They have 5 freshmen on their roster right now. And so to give those guys some experience and time on the floor in a district playoff game is invaluable moving forward.
$59-43 is your final score in this one. We'll come back right after this. Is Freedom moving on to the semifinals. 3 more games for them. Back after this, 59-43 your final. You're watching our D11sports.com Game of the Week presented by St. Luke's Sports Medicine.
Concussions are serious. 3 million sport, recreation, and auto accident-related concussions happen each year. 20% of high school athletes who play contact sports will suffer a concussion during the season. St. Luke's is the region's leader in assessing, managing, and treating concussions in athletes and non-athletes of all ages. Our multi-specialty teams of experts collaborate to care for you using the latest treatment options. Don't play head games, take concussion seriously. Call St. Luke's to schedule an appointment with one of our concussion experts.
Well, one game in the books. We know who's punched their ticket to the semifinals in this one, and obviously the opportunity for them to move forward and talk to Coach Stellato here. And right now they're in position. And we go down to Elijah.
And Coach, what are your thoughts on the game?
We just played hard and balled out.
What are your thoughts on the game, Coach?
I thought we played well. We executed when we needed to. We did things right. I'm really proud of the guys. They played hard, and we played smart, and that's key.
You played your heart out here. We know who it was for. Coach, who do you guys have next?
Well, we don't know who we have next. We have the winner of Allen and Pocono Mountain West, and we'll see what happens there. But, we're going on the States, and we're looking forward to it, but one game at a time. And whoever we get next round, we're going to come out and play the same style. We're going to play hard and do the best we can.
Thank you. Back to you, Al.
All right, Elijah, thanks a lot. Obviously, a great time there for the Freedom Patriots, and an opportunity there. Coach Stellato and Ellis, and we talked about Ellis, and this is special for him. He came into play. He scores 11 points. He pulls down a bunch of boards as well. Your final thoughts here?
Well, absolutely. You could see the relief and the excitement on Coach Stellato and his players' faces right there, knowing that they're playing in states. They're going to play for a couple more weeks. Very proud and happy for them. And for the young man, Ellis, as you said, what he's been through for the last couple weeks, just incredible. And he deserved the player of the game, to be quite honest.
14 points for Caleb Mims. Malik Mims with 14. 3 points for Falco. 2 points for Harrington. 8 points for Barnes, 11 points for Ellis, 4 points for Georges, 2 points for Patterson, 5 points for Santos, 3 points for Mileto, 5 points for Green, Parker with 6, 2 points for Edward Moore, Sapp with 16, and 4 points for McIntyre. That will do it for game number 1. Final score again, 59-43 as the Freedom Patriots punch their ticket to the semifinals into states as well. We congratulate them, and we wish the seniors from East Stroudsburg South the very best. That will do it for game number 1. For Tom Moser, for Dave Micah, for Peter Capota, for Elijah Rivera, for SFBN and Josh Bellman and Ari Bluestein and everyone here at D11sports.com. Al DiCarlo saying so long for now. Congratulations to the Freedom Patriots. We're back with more action in the back end of the doubleheader in just a little bit. Have a great afternoon.